So there's been a lot of talk lately about what could end up being the next big game mode for TSW, and it all starts with something that's actually already part of the game right now. The new platform dispatcher scenario on the Riviera line in TSW 6. Now, just to set expectations, this isn't a full game mode yet. TSW 6 already brought its major core additions like platform announcements, random signal delays, and events, and even passenger ambience, but what makes this dispatcher scenario stand out is that Dovetail is actively asking for feedback on it, and they've hinted that it could become something bigger down the road. So in Dovetail's latest TSW 6 from the player's article, which I will have linked below, they highlight this scenario as the first of its kind. You're able to move freely along the platform, watch trains load passengers, and then dispatch them at marked points. On the left side of the screen, there's a new HUD panel that lists the next service, its platform, destination, and departure time. And if a train leaves late, the display even turns red, which to me already hints at some kind of scoring or timing system behind it. I don't know, the fact that they're framing it this way really suggests that a system might already be in place and that this could be something they're genuinely planning to expand on, maybe even as soon as TSW 7, who knows? But what is encouraging here is that Matt also talked about this in one of his recent TSW 6 streams, and during that stream he actually asked viewers what they thought of Day of the Dispatcher and whether it's something they'd want to see as a full game mode. He went on to mention that the team's thinking about how to make it more dynamic, maybe by taking the smaller side activities from the scenario, like picking up rubbish or helping passengers, and letting players do them anywhere in the game. But this scenario in TSW 6 with feedback on a potential feature being made of it actually isn't the first time that this has happened. Back in the TSW 3 days, the Glossip line guarding scenario was an early test, and then we saw a similar approach in TSW 4 with the Long Island Railroad commuter scenario. Both did start small, received very strong feedback, and because of that, eventually turned into what we have today, which is conductor mode. Now, it has had its rough patches, it's still buggy in many ways, but I think it's a great example of how player response can turn an experiment into a fully realized feature. Now, the dispatcher scenario itself is genuinely one of the most enjoyable things I've done in TSW 6 so far. Walking up and down the platforms, keeping an eye on arriving trains, helping passengers, and taking care of smaller duties while you wait for your train to either arrive or be ready to depart. You can pick up litter, water flowers, approach passengers maybe standing too close to the yellow line or sometimes past it, like in the case of this scenario with a rail fan taking pictures. There's also an awesome moment where you need to deploy an accessibility ramp to help an elderly passenger board the train, then stow it back once they're safely on. This is the kind of realistic gameplay that I personally love in TSW, and if it ever does become a full game mode, I think that would be the perfect opportunity to go even further with passenger diversity and accessibility, and I have been meaning to talk about this for so many months. This is the perfect video to do it. We already see a step towards that here with this scenario, but imagine having passengers in wheelchairs and also elderly passengers like we saw in this scenario using those bridge plates, or even stations that we have with proper ramps that accessible passengers can take up to reach the train doors, especially on routes with low platforms and higher train floors. It would just be so lovely to see that kind of representation a part of the game just in general, whether with or without this station dispatcher game mode. Now, it is worth noting that a platform dispatcher is completely different from a signal dispatcher. Other sims like SimRail, for example, do focus on the signal management side of things and routing trains across different tracks to different platforms, and you can even do that in multiplayer mode within that particular sim, but this is much more about the human side of station operations and of course keeping things safe and orderly on the platform itself. Now, I have seen a few people mention that in the UK, dispatchers sometimes blow 2 whistles when setting off a train, and I can't personally confirm How accurate that is I don't know how it works there, but I think little details like that would be great to see if this mode gets developed further. And I'd love to hear from you guys on that, especially if you live in the UK, and how those operations work in particular. What does the platform dispatcher role actually look like where you're from, and what could make this more authentic and immersive for your particular region? For me, what makes this whole idea so exciting is that it opens up new ways to play the game. Free roam did an amazing job with that. Conductor mode, despite its bugs, does that as well. And with the past couple of iterations of this game, I think they've been doing a great job with opening that up, and I think this would be a great opportunity to expand that even further. Now, if this is something you would personally like to see developed into a proper game mode someday, definitely make sure to let Dovetail know and leave feedback either on the Dovetail Discord that they have or the forums. And also let me know what you think of this scenario, and if this is something that you would like to see expanded into a game mode, or maybe if it's not for you, why it doesn't matter to you much, and what would you like to see instead. That's gonna be it from me for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully we see this one day. I personally love the idea of it, but I'll definitely be reading your responses on the matter. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and happy real simming.